I'll be reading from the fifth draft of my epic poem, The Parliament of Poets, partly set on the moon at the Sea of Tranquility, where Apollo 11 landed. Jumping into Book 3, in Medias Res, in the midst of things. It's a flashback on the moon. The persona is explaining to all the poets from all the nations and cultures and times how he got to the moon, traveled there with his guide, the poet Robert Hayden. While I was trying to absorb it all, a figure emerged from down the hill, dressed in a jacket and a vest, decorous bow tie near the pond, incongruous, out of his element, holding a tall black spear with a broad, wide blade tapering to a point. Walking towards me, I noticed he adjusted his bow tie with one hand, peering through bottle-thick glasses. "Egads!" I exclaimed. "Bob, is that you?" Remembering the day, by chance, walking across the campus diag, I had seen that figure in front of Angel Hall, recognizing me too, as he smiled back. Two poets, one now grown older, both lessened by time. We laughed, looked at one another, shaking hands and embraced. Stepping back, I said, "Bob, that spear is just so not you." And he, "I'll have you recall, I was the young poet who aspired to fulfill Stephen Benet's prophecy of an American black poet with a spear, chanting a song for his people, and I still honor that, though complex for some." Laughing together again, I shot back, "They still don't get you, that you're human." "Forget that crowd," he scowled, adding, "You, my friend, have done what you told me," taking my breath away, gasping as I recall. "Oh yes, I remember. It consoled me for many years, even as your words. My God, you're going to have such a difficult time, have proven all too true with every passing year. What a fool I was to think that all I had to do was serve Robert Frost 20 years. Laughing on the patio, he said, "Many poets make that mistake. Enough of that, too." Waving his hands, sweeping it all away, a gesture that only he could make. "I will name their names and they shall come for us, carry us heavenward to the moon. I have come to lay my black spear down by Roland's horn. Do you think I'll be able to get that?" Howlingly funny, we roared, the old understanding passing between us, my friend and mentor, I still his apprentice. I hazarded, "The cliches are even thicker now than when you were catching myself." He just smiled and said, "Boys, step aside and let a real poet show you how to get to the moon." Shaking his spear in the air, what a sight we were, there in the meadow, a large eccentric black man and a poet once young, an apprentice grown old himself, worn down by life and all its poignant pains, my body evincing signs of mortality. The old bond felt so strong as he began. "Scientists and engineers don't own the moon. I once saw their flags and footprints, intricate rubbish left behind. We're rescuing it from them. We poets were there first. I call, spirits, both arms now flung forward, shaking in the air. I invoke your names and from every land and time. Ha! We poets are not the ones to worry about, but scientists bereft of any guiding vision, technicians without souls, without a human heart. We poets reclaim what is rightfully ours, and so, great spirits," he bellowed to the air, shaking his spear again with newfound fervor, such that I reeled back. "I call you to come forth. You shall carry us homeward to the moon. All fairy folk come forth, juju man and woman, watchers of the moon who knew its roar. Fays of every land, Peris of Persia, Auri, genii on flying carpets, carry us like Burak from Mount Kaf to the moon. Lead our camel across the sands of time. Egyptian Paf and Greek Endymion, Queen Mab with all your crew, Puck and Titania, Oberon, Robin Goodfellow, Tinkerbell, Welsh fairies, angels and cherubim, seraphims of the Holy Temple, Valkyries of Valhalla, fleet-footed Mercury, come down from Mount Olympus, aid us, Greek gods, if ever you assisted human beings, we need you now. Apollo Phoebus, bear me witness and hear me out. Your servants stand here in the grove. Raise them to the inspiration of the moon, where you call all poets of every land to assemble. Zeus, wing our earthbound feet like Perseus, gird us to battle Medusa. Like Arthur, kept by the fairies, keep us safe upon our journey. Poesy is in need. Take us to where we can look on Mother Earth, reigning in the night of space. Imagination's greatest image, newly acquired but grudgingly admitted, attained fortuitously by bungling scientists and fighter pilots. Despite themselves cosmic hieroglyph, they knew not how to decipher thee. Repair now to the poets' round table, that bards and minstrels, poets and seers, rhapsodes and griots, shamans and priestesses may consult in high, intoxicating tones of artful song the meaning of our fate, the fate of all humanity in this dark, nihilistic age. Surging into his appeal, he bellowed all the more into the heavens. Divine beings, come forth! Convey us to the moon! Hear our petition now upon this meadow green, this sward! Pixies and gnomes, elves and brownies, kelpies and corrigans, leprechauns, yet African flying tortoise and beku. Carry us from here to the moon. With a thud, Bob planted the end of his spear down on the earth. I looked at him standing, gazing into the sky, nearly blind as he was, and knew he saw deeper and farther than many men with two good eyes. Then something began to happen. Those he summoned began to appear. Together we could see them. The Fairy Queen, trailing her, or his, crew came twinkling in. Apsaras and Gandharvas from the east, sphinxes and griffins, out of 1,001 nights of dreaming, the noble vulture Garuda from standing guard in India. Mother Goose's proverbial man and moon, her storybook cow jumped over the moon. Feng Wang, the Chinese phoenix bird, along with the Russian firebird, their Greek consort, all came down to serve the Fairy Queen, who deftly exercised her royal sway, looked at Bob, intoned in silver notes. My lord, you called, and we have come to do your bidding, poet true and valiant, pure of heart. Thy melodious song, nectar of our breast, we thirst to hear your words that guide a right poet seer, though judged legally blind by bureaucratic ignoramuses, we know better that thy penetrating sight perceives what other men unwisely neglect. And so we are here, guided to be your guides, and up toward the Empyrean carry thee in thy charge to heaven's light, great symbol of majesty's highest rule, light saving us from pitch-black darkness, raising men's minds above the lowly earth. Light in all its glory we shall ride, moonbeams from the moon on high shall safe passage grant, our road supernal physics, deepest insight into light, the energy and mystery of the universe. I come to petition further on your behalf. Spreading her tender hands out toward the crystal sky, she demurely began her appeal. True light, if ever you have sought to guide us, guide now, that these poets may assemble on the moon, your orb, the jeweled and brightest light, in time of darkness, enlighten our minds. This corporeal one especially requires your transcendent energy. Let us rise within thy brilliant light, enwrapped vision, visionary. All mystic beings attest, rise, elevated by thee. She gestured us closer. Together poets stand, and in the evening light we now could see the day as we spoke, having passed in the night. Moonbeams upon the meadow in my backyard. Shimmering light, ascended energy of the far-off moon. The hoopoe and all her flock came sailing back over the trees, swirling around the circle, joined and accompanied by Queen Mab's crew, fairies and genies and magical beings. Robert and I found we were rising in flight, lifting off like a Saturn V rocket from Cape Canaveral, but in fluid bird song, not a violent shaking roar. Queen Mab and Japara were at our lead, bearing us aloft, light speed for the moon, and we within a shining beam, a tower of light, twin towers soared heavenward, beyond time and earth, accompanied by all the multitude of birds and fairy folk. Daedalus and Icarus flew with us, Icarus falling to earth as we neared the sun. Looking away, Bob murmured, "Oh, Daedalus, fly away home. Oh, fly beyond Africa." Pegasus heading back to Olympus, dolphins sailing for Byzantium. Bob and I, like crows, stroking for the moon. I thought, who needs warp drive when I've got Queen Mab, my escort and midwife of my dreams? Oh, she brought us here to fairyland, Japara and all the other wondrous folk. Even where you see us now before you, the Sea of Tranquility, all tranquil here. Earthly turmoil left far behind, place of pain and human strife, so it seems, unending.